Well, hello, folks, ladies and gents. I'm just deciding to do a little rapid reaction podcast, emergency podcast, what I call that. We just got done watching WWE's Clash at the Castle. I wanted to kind of get in here and just kind of react to what we saw. Great show for starters. I really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the better shows of the year. And I think the thing, as we go through the review real quick, and one of the things we realize is that as you're watching this, this is the first real show, premium live event we've done that's been done post Vince and Kenny McMahon's retirement. Obviously SummerSlam was technically the first one, but let's be real that most of the chess pieces for SummerSlam was already in place before Vince even made the decision to retire. This is the first true post Vince pay-per-view, or sorry, this is WWE, so we call them premium live events. We call that, and I thought Triple H. I thought we were reminded today that this is definitely a new era of World Wrestling Entertainment. So I don't want to spend too much of your time here. Maybe probably the most 10 minutes. Just kind of get a lot of grades in these matches. There was 6 matches on the card. Like I said, it was a really good event. I really enjoyed it. I actually came home early from work to watch this. I didn't think I was gonna be able to watch it, but I was able to come home early. Got home right when the show started. First match, of course, was 6-man tag match with the ladies between Roman and Bianca Belair versus Bianca Belair along with Asuka and Alexa Bliss versus Damage Control, which is the returning Bayley, of course, and her crew of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Let me tell you right now. Well, first off, I picked before the show started. I picked Bayley, Damage Control, Bayley and crew to win the match, and that happened. Very good match. Gave it a B plus. Actually gave it A-, actually. And I think one of the things I came away with this was that I love that they have paired Bayley with Dakota and Io, because one thing is clear is that Bayley, first of all, I'm glad that Bayley came back as a heel, number one. It's clear that she's a fantastic heel. The whole Karen thing and all that, she does that to a great degree. And she's a fantastic character, and everybody that's around her is excited. And Dakota and Io, just a couple of the red roster now, they're immediately important now because of Bayley. Bayley made them important now. So because of that, I'm very happy. I thought it was a great move by Hunter and company to pair these two with her, and by them winning this too. I think we're going to see a Bayley Bianca match at Extreme Rules next month. Honestly. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. Give it an A-/B+. Give the ladies an A-. I'm actually glad that the heels won here, because I think it adds more intrigue to the storyline. This is a great setup for Extreme Rules, where you probably see Bayley back in the title picture again. Like I said, I'm so glad Bayley back. Bayley's is a fantastic character, and she's when it's all said and done, she's gonna be truly one of the all-time greats. We look at you want to talk about Rushmores and all that. I know she'll be on the Mount Rushmore of ladies, but she's definitely in the conversation. Like right now, you think of like great workers and just all together. She's just what she does. The second match here, which I believe was the match of the night, honestly, you had the Intercontinental title match between Gunther and Sheamus. Sorry, I'm actually in my studio doing this on my clip-on mic on my phone because my kids are still home and making a lot of noise, and I can't do this without any noise in the house, unfortunately. Again, match of the night, my opinion, possibly match of the weekend, and I can argue it being a candidate for match of the year. Gunther is amazing. Again, we're reminded how great Sheamus is. When it's all said and done, all-time great, Hall of Famer, you name it, great worker. Obviously, no surprise, Gunther won the match. I mean, we're building Gunther to be a star on the main roster. I love the fact we have an IC title match actually on a pay-per-view or pay-per-view event. Because one thing you saw in recent years is that you see the IC title not get represented enough on these shows, and the US title. And one of the things I said on my wrestling podcast was that The big thing I want to see from Hunter, one of the 5 things I want to see from Hunter and Triple H, in terms of what he's going to do going forward creative, is make these titles matter. Especially now with Roman Reigns hogging up both the world titles, both the Universal and the WWE title. Make these titles matter. And that match felt like the match mattered. It felt like that IC title mattered. And by the way, just saw a stat that Sheamus has won every title but the IC title. So that's a storyline. Maybe you can give Sheamus a run of this down the road. This could be a feud that can go for another couple months. And another thing I love about this match, especially, it goes back to the fact that, I know modern wrestling fans like a lot of the flippy dippy stuff, or as my buddy Duke Bennett says on the podcast, flippy dippy, peanut butter skippy stuff. I like that stuff to myself. I really do. I don't like it in excess. This match reminded me of that. You can still tell a great story, have a great match by two big men that slept meet across the ring, and they told a great story. So I gave this match an A+. This was a fantastic match. I was the best way through. So, match number 3, Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I've been very vocal. Not really feeling this Liv Morgan run. I'm rooting for her, obviously. I'm not sitting there saying I want her to fail. I'm glad they took a chance on her. I want the company to continue taking a chance on her, but I think we're on a countdown clock now with Liv Morgan. I will say this match was better than expected. I didn't expect much coming into it. These girls, I thought they did pretty well. I gave it a B-, actually. I thought Liv Morgan is obviously her best match by far since winning the title. What I felt was going to happen, and my concern was not necessarily Liv, but more so Shayna Baszler, because it seems like leading into this match that creative was trying to build Shayna Baszler up again. We saw she came 2 years ago from NXT. They built her up, and then she loses to Becky Lynch in WrestleMania 36. And then she's been floundering for the last 2 years. Hunter's taking over now, so we figure, okay, well, Hunter is going to take some of his NXT, darlings or creatives, going to call that. And it seems like she's trying to build up Shayna Baszler. And look, I'm not saying that Shayna should get the title right now, but there's a way to do this where it's creative, where she looks strong. But she lost this match, and she lost clean. So yeah, on one hand it helps Liv, but to me now it hurts Shayna Baszler now moving forward. And to me, if you're gonna, I was saying before the match that if she's gonna lose clean, then there's really no point of even pushing her at all, because you just destroyed this character. Like, she's not developed yet. In other words, like, it's one thing of when Brock Lesnar loses the match to somebody, for example, it makes sense as long as it makes sense within the story. I can see that. I can see the value in that. But we're still trying to build Shayna to be a monster. And you have this little Liv Morgan, who I respect. I think she's putting in the work. I'm not sitting there and hating on her and all that. But at the same time, it's not, it's just, that they're put in a corner here. And I don't know how you fix that. Like, maybe you go back to this match again, maybe in Extreme Rules, and maybe have Shayna win the title then. I don't know. I don't know. I just think Shayna's the move for me, in my opinion, was if you're booking this match, I would have had Shayna Liv win by disqualification at least, and then you had this rematch coming up at Extreme Rules or another Raw or something like that, or SmackDown rather, for that matter. But it's just, I don't know. Shayna keeps taking these losses now like this, and now what? And she's losing to Liv Morgan, well, people. No offense to Liv Morgan, but Shayna Baszler's a monster. I think WWE's missed opportunity here. I know Vince was the main reason why this happened 2 years ago, but with Hunter now too, especially, I don't know. I'm a little disappointed on how things went. Now the match, like I said, the match was a lot better than I thought. But I gave it a B-. All right, the next match on the card, which was it was Judgment Day, which of course is Finn Balor and Damian Priest with Rhea Ripley in their corner versus Edge and Rey Mysterio with Dominic in their corner. This match was okay. Like I said, I gave it a C plus. It was a solid match. Some good spots here and there. Wasn't really. To be honest with you, I actually missed a chunk of the match because my kids had started asking me to do some things, so I'll make some pizza for them and all that. So I was kind of in and out of the match a little bit. I did catch the end though, and the big part, and probably the reason why I probably maybe giving it a B minus is because the ending was cool. Dominic finally turns on Edge. Finally turns on his dad, Rey Mysterio. What a 6 clothesline that Dominic gave his dad, Rey. And this is after the Mysterios won the match. Dominic still turned on them. So I'm kind of intrigued how this goes, what direction they go in, because it wasn't that Dominic actually aligned himself with Judgment Day either. Because he did help Rey, his dad, and Edge win the match. But we didn't see Dominic either. Dominic took his shirt off and left the arena. So I don't know where this goes. If he's just going bye-bye for good or something. I don't know. But we'll see. Is it made for creative going forward? So next match, Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins. Good match. Good moments. Not as good as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a banger. It was a good match. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. But again, that's what happens when you have expectations on things. Sometimes it doesn't mean it, and that it is what it is. But overall, like I said, I had Seth Rollins win the match, and he didn't win the match. I gotta tell you, Seth Rollins is amazing. It's funny. Like when I started watching the product again in 2019, and Seth was a champion at the time, I wasn't even feeling it, his run, because number one, he's just not a great babyface champion. He's not really a great babyface. Like, he's okay babyface. He's a fantastic heel though, and he's somehow mastered and added to the character. Through the years, going from the architect to now this thing, the flamboyant Seth Rollins. There's a lot of like Macho Man Randy Savage in him too, especially as I watch. And you guys know my affinity for Macho Man. It's my favorite wrestler of all time. But it's one of those things where like it's just he's fantastic in ring character. He gets guys over. He's been doing this for the last couple of years. He hasn't won a big match in a while. That's why I said that he had to win this match. He's been taking a lot of L's on these Premium Live events for the last year and a half now, losing to Edge like 3 times and losing to he beat Roman Reigns by disqualification, but all these matches, the Cody matches, just he always has the best or second best match on the card every time. And we're gonna hopefully do a WWE 40 rankings thing, power rankings project on Take the Wrestling Podcast. Seth Rollins is going to be a lot higher than people on my list than people are going to give credit for. He's just fantastic. He gets it. Not only does he get pro wrestling, he gets sports entertainment, and I'm a big fan now, man. I'm so glad that he's heel and he's doubling down, and it's a fantastic match, man. I'm glad he won the match, especially too, and it made sense for the story, especially. But yeah. And finally, the last match of the night, the main event, of course, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns for the unification titles, both Universal and WWE titles. It was a really good match. Again, another match like Sheamus and Gunther. 2 big men, not flashy, just getting there kicking ass. And again, you can tell a great story that way. I said it on the podcast with my buddy Duke a couple days ago. The thing about Roman Reigns, I think, as we get more into this push and more into this, this story, is that he becomes to be underrated because for a guy who's not very technical, very simple, he tells a great story in the ring. This match told a fantastic story. And then you had, of course, a lot of the chaos, where Austin Theory tries to cash in his Money in the Bank contract when Roman was down, and he gets punched out by Tyson Fury. And then, Drew's about to win the match, and then you see the reveal of his Roman's Uso's cousin, Solo Sikoa, come out and cost Drew the match, pretty much. Another surprise. Which is funny because we thought maybe Karrion Kross, who was spotted at ringside throwing a water bottle at Drew McIntyre on the match, would be a problem, but he was gone out of the picture. And then you have his, the Usos' cousin, another part of the bloodline, part of this storyline now too, especially, great storytelling, and by the way, this is now could set up for a Survivor Series type of match now going forward. Because now you have the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Roman, Roman Reigns now with 700 plus, with 743 days, I think now is champion. Fantastic. And the thing that was cool about this match, too, especially in hindsight, is that Roman was the title, keeps the title, obviously. Drew stays strong. Drew McIntyre is still strong. He's a viable option, obviously, now to be in the world title picture now going forward for next year WrestleMania, depending on how they play out things. Obviously, got Cody in the wings come back at some point, and who knows. But it's clear that Drew McIntyre is definitely someone you can still go to if need be to be the next guy who could potentially take on Roman, because there was a lot of near falls there. But yeah, all in all, fantastic show. I gave the whole show, and honestly, I gave the show an A. I was intrigued. Like I said, a couple of dips here and there, but the dips were small. And the dips that we saw in the show were dips that I thought would be there anyway. The Liv and Shayna Baszler, but that match was better than we thought. I graded higher than I thought, so I gave it a nice A-. One of the better shows of the year from WWE. And of course, like I said, you may complain about Raw and SmackDown about WWE all the time, but one thing is clear: their premium live events, they almost never fail. So, and that's it for me. I just want to check in here on the podcast and just kind of give my thoughts on the show. Clash of the Castle. They've really set up well. All these matches have really set up well for the next 5 weeks creative for Extreme Rules, which will be October 8th. Another Saturday show too, which is really, really cool. I actually love these Saturday pay-per-views, especially too. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's it for me. Till the next pod, we'll see when we get back in here and do it. But love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the Labor Day weekend. We maybe do a podcast on the weekend. We'll see what happens. But till then, we'll talk later.